If you use fabric as your pattern, you're just opening yourself up to problems. Because you put fabric on fabric, it doesn't lay smoothly, and you go to adjust it, and it can pull things off from grain. So you always transfer to Blue Dot if you're going to be using it as a regular pattern. So I start by drawing my center front line in. That way I know it's going to be in place and it's not going to move on me. And I have a guideline to keep it set up with. So with my front, line it up on my line. And then you need to use weights, whatever you've got that will work. Your phone's a great weight, your scissors are a great weight. Water bottles work really well, so I just use whatever's around. You can make your own pattern weights. I don't know if Darren talked about pattern weights with patterning, but you can make your own if you get pieces of muslin and get the big washers from Home Depot or Lowe's and put them in and tie yarn or something across from them. Those work really well as homemade pattern weights. You can put sand in plastic bags and then put it in muslin, and that makes a really good pattern weight. So there's ways to make your own. If you actually buy pattern weights, they're great and they work really well, but they're really expensive. So it's one of those things that you can make your own, or you just use whatever's it works just as well. So what you're going to do is now go around and trace the outside. So anytime there's a place, there's a curve, you're going to follow that whole curve. We're being watched. But when I come down here to the curved or the straight portion, and right there's that one section where I lost a little of my seam allowance. I'm just going to make sure that I have 1/2 inch coming into that section. But where there's a straight line, you don't need to follow all the way down. You can just do top and bottom. You know it's going to be straight between them. Same thing here. And then I do the same thing on my darts. I know that's where the bottom of my dart is. And it's coming to that point. So I mark both sides of the dart, leg, top and bottom. And I don't have to draw the whole thing all the way down because you're going to want to use your ruler to true it up anyway to make sure it's drawn in nice and smooth. Hardest problem with this, you'll see it in just a minute, is, and notch is going to be your hip line. So that's your notch. Hardest thing is actually seeing the lines, the dots. We don't have the right tabletops here. This should really be a semi-soft tabletop so that this has something it can go into. Cork tables, professional shops are going to have cork tables in it so that this has something to dig into. It's going to leave a better hole so you can see it works the same for patterning. But we don't have cork tables, so
So we make do.
We make do. One of the ways that some of the students do this so that you can actually see the dots better. Tracing paper, the chalk paper that you use, if you trace it out with that underneath so it's down, it will leave a little bit of a color indication. So you've got that, so it's a little bit easier to see. Just one of those tricks if you're having trouble actually seeing it. I have a really heavy hand, so usually I don't have any problem seeing my lines because I push really hard. And then you're just going to come in and follow your dots. My straight line going down. Straight line over, and I didn't mark my hand, but I know it's an inch up, so it's going to be okay. Following top and bottom of my dart indications. And And if you don't do it here, this is usually some weeks, and with a small class, you might get to most of this transferring during class because you don't have to wait for me to come over and help you because there aren't 12 of you in the class. So you might have time to do this. This is one of the things that I can guarantee can be part of your homework. It's one of the typical things that becomes the homework in the draping class is, don't like this at all, the way it's shaping when I'm not getting all my dots, so, is the whole transfer process. If you do have to do it at home, don't do it on a nice piece of furniture or on a wood floor. I had someone, I tried to say that in class, and I said it, and someone came back the next week and said, I know you said this, but I didn't pay attention. And I did it on my mom's really expensive oak table.
Oh.
It now has little dots all over.
Oh no.
Because this will dig itself in. If you look at the table, all the little dots and lines that are in it, it's because of the use. You can see it really heavy here. You can see the little dots. So don't use it on a nice piece of furniture, please. I don't want to get in trouble. And you don't want to get in trouble. And once you do this, I'm just going to do my front. Back is done exactly the same way. You want to again walk your two together, your front and your back, just like you do with your drapes. Just in case something changed, then you can put it back on and double check or look at it and compare and see what's wrong. But you want to make sure that they're matching up and lining up, because these are the ones that ultimately you're going to be using as your patterns to cut something out. And then same thing with your information box. And this is a good one because the skirts are pretty much the same between patterning and draping. If you want to put in the box that it's your draped basic instead of your drafted basic, you can then go back and forth. When you get into some of the other classes like women's wear in your collection, this is one of the few patterns that I let you actually continue to use. Your basic pieces you can use. If it's I've taken the pattern and altered it and changed it around, I won't let you use that, even if it's close to what you designed for your senior collection, just so you know. Because part of that class it's your test to make sure that you can take something from beginning to end, but I'm not going to make you redo all of your basics.
Okay.
So if you know what, I know my draping fits the dress form better than my drafting does, or I know my drafted one fits better than my draping one does, you don't have to look at it and go, I don't know. Did I drape this one? So it just keeps it clear. And that's the process.
That's